It's now time to take a look at Hreidmar's armor set because there's quite a lot going on here, as Ubisoft have implemented a cool new feature where you'll actually need to purify the armor set by socketing specific runes in each armor piece before we can actually use it. Otherwise, it's going to kill us if we do equip it. However, when you do purify it, it actually changes visually into a completely different armor set and also provides you with some pretty compelling stats for going to the trouble in doing so. But our thanks go out to Peder and Ibsarp, who have found all of this stuff in the game files, and we also get a look at Odin's personal AC Atgeir weapon. But of course, this is all subject to change, but considering Ubisoft have visually shown this armor set and the Atgeir weapon in their trailers, I think that is something to bear in mind. Now, before I break down the stats on this cursed armor set, I do think it's important to mention here that Peder has said that we'll be able to obtain it by looting a chest in Hreidmar's Palace, which is the large building in the middle of Svartalfheim, by the way. It's certainly in one of the new regions anyway. And for further context, the palace itself was built by Hreidmar, who was once a beloved king of the dwarves, and you also may be wondering why he's got a cursed armor set named after him when he was such a decent bloke. Well, I will explain that in a second, because when it does come to stats, every 3 seconds that you have this set equipped, you're going to suffer a minus 10% health reduction, which does mean that this armor set will kill you if you continue to wear it. Additionally, your health is also reduced and your evasion is nullified, and as you can see here, thanks to Peder, your health is reduced to approximately 33% as a cap when you do equip it. And also when it does come to your evasion, well, it may indeed be 0 in the game stats, but you can still dodge around all over the shop if you so wish. Now, according to legend, Hreidmar's son Otter was accidentally killed by Loki, and in payment of this debt, the Aesir gave Hreidmar a magical ring that would turn anything into gold. However, it was cursed and was to bring misfortune upon anyone who would use it. Well, of course, Hreidmar did go on to use it, the absolute bandit, and his son Fafnir ended up killing him and taking it for himself. And as mentioned in the codex, Hreidmar's dying breath left a hex on the armor set. And yes, by the way, Fafnir in legend also then went on to transform into a dragon, and I'm going to let you mull that one over for this DLC. So now we've got a good understanding on why this armor set is cursed in the first place. How do we actually purify it? Well, quite simply, we need to equip a total of 5 Motsognir Clarity runes, 1 for each armor piece, which will remove all of the debuffs. Now, Peder also informs me that there's not much info found in the game files about these Motsognir runes, but I have done some digging for you, and Motsognir was another well-loved ruler of the dwarven people alongside Durin after the dwarves had initially been given life. So I think that's a really nice detail there, even if it is just a name on a rune. I love coming across stuff like this, so props to Ubi for it. Now, how do we actually get hold of these runes? Well, straight up answer is we don't know yet, but Peder has suggested that they may be rewards for completing challenges in Kara's Valkyrie Arena, and that would make sense to me, but as with everything, we're just gonna have to wait and see. And by the way, if you have enjoyed the video so far or learned anything new, and only if you wouldn't mind, a very swift like down below really does help me out, so I really appreciate your support, and thank you very much. Okay, so we've picked up our runes and equipped them in the Hreidmar's Cursed set, but what happens next? Well, once this is done, you head back into the infantry panel, and the armor changes visually to a blessed armor piece, which I think is pretty cool. But before we tuck into the appearance breakdown, let's actually have a perusal at the stats. And every time you actually perform a critical hit, your health is restored by a whopping 20%, which is pretty mega. As a trade-off though, rations will replenish less health, and that number is 50%. But that doesn't necessarily matter, because even if you use a ration, it actually performs an AoE damage effect to enemies in the vicinity, which you can visually see here. It's a kind of circular gust of smoke which quickly dissipates. Now, with such a heavy orientated health armor set, you may think that it's absolute trash, to put it bluntly, but I've got a feeling we'll need to use this armor set in some sort of capacity, perhaps in a big boss fight where he or she drops some insane damage, or perhaps utilizing the blessed or cursed armor set for certain areas or puzzles in the game. And again, we're just going to have to wait and see, but I think that would be pretty cool and add some sort of utility to it. Now, appearance-wise, it is described as being intricately designed and forged from the rarest metals no longer found in the 9 realms, and a source of pride for anyone who actually laid their eyes upon it. It was also envied by Odin, and I think it is a very compelling looking armor set. I think the detail across it is impressive, and it really does give you that feeling that this is a dwarven armor set made for a king. However, I still think I'm going to be running with my dwarven blacksmith set, which if you haven't seen, by the way, I will link the breakdown video at the end of this one. Now let's move on to the Impaler. It's Odin's personal Atgeir weapon that is described as being finely crafted as a personal present for the High One, but the gift never happened. So I'm assuming we come across this in Svartalfheim, hidden somewhere, and I just want to give a quick shout out to Phoenix and the Game Starter, who kindly corrected me on the All-Father Odin armor set video. I said that the fiery warsong Atgeir we covered in there was the one that Odin used in the cinematic trailer, and it was actually this one, so cheers my dudes, it has been a very long week. But moving on to stats, and your critical chance will increase by a +10 when your health is below 50%, which I can't honestly help but feel gutted by. I think this is a fantastic looking weapon. It was front and center in the cinematic reveal, and it's about as useful as a chocolate fire guard. But from what it lacks in performance, it makes up for in aesthetics, because I think it is a tremendous looking weapon, certainly the best out of all the Atgeirs we've covered on the channel so far, in my opinion, and it will most certainly be a transmog option for me as I run around with that fiery warsong Atgeir, setting everybody on fire. And by the way, if this is your first armor set breakdown video that you've watched, I've actually covered all of the other armor sets in the upcoming Ragnarok DLC, so I will actually put the playlist on your screen in just a second if you do want to soldier on through them and get a good idea of what they're all about. I would say there's some good and some bad stuff there, to be honest with you. Big thanks to Peder and Ibsarp again for all of their hard work over the last week, and cheers for watching, and I'm sure I'll catch you in more Ragnarok coverage this week. Of course, coffee is on me.